And here we are, everyone, a special final cut, if you will. Another one where we are with the blonde in front. And yeah, very, very excited to talk about the film today because, well, it's a surprise. I had seen the trailer for this a while back, and I was like, okay, and hadn't heard anything of it. And then I saw that it was actually released in theaters, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I had to drive an hour for it. And yeah, we're talking about the Furious 2026. And I have the blonde in front with me tonight to talk about this. Look at that. Look at those cards. How you doing, Katie?
I'm doing phenomenally, mainly because we are talking about this film, which is one of my favorites. Mark, you know that I do many things entertainment wise throughout the year, and there's stuff you miss, there's things, and life gets in the way. You get tired. I get tired. You seem to not get tired, my friend. You don't. I get tired. I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to put on my face. I don't want to be the blonde in front out in public. I just want to do nothing and be like a vegetable on my couch. And my one, honestly, my one regret this year is that I did buy a ticket to go see The Furious at Beyond Fest in Chicago.
Okay.
And I was like, what am I thinking? It's going to be like at 10 something at night. I know I can't. So I gave it to my friend Kit Lee. I forwarded the ticket to him and stuff. I'm like, I heard it's amazing. You can name one of your children after me later. I'm beat. And then I ended up seeing it at Panic Fest. And it is the one regret that I have, that I was like, damn it, I should have gone and seen that movie. Because then I've seen it now twice. And that would
Hmm.
have been a third time if I had seen it at Beyond Fest. But I mean, I plan on owning this. And I don't know if you know this, Mark, there is actually an extended version.
There's an extended version.
Yes, that is in China and Hong Kong.
Oh,
And that they played there. That for some reason, I guess it's a little bit more brutal with some of the things that go on, but
that's
I
possible.
it must be, I mean, it must be mine. That's all I have to say. I need this in my eyes.
I, here's the thing: is I enjoy my Asian cinema, my cinema from over the Pacific, especially martial arts and fighting, because usually it's just better. I've recently talked to, behind the curtain a little bit. I talked to a company, a PR company that handles more Asian distribution of action films. We've covered a couple on our channel that have just been wonderful. Modern martial arts films, I think, are being overlooked in many circles, and I'm hoping this kind of brings to light, because the new stuff has been, like, just as good, if not better. It's like they've taken the old the classic martial arts films that I grew up with watching late night on an independent channel, and they've taken that formula and they've just modernized it and made it, and just given this wonderful spin in the Furious. I didn't quite know what to go into it expecting. I mean, I figured the action was gonna be good, which it is. The action is phenomenal in this, but I didn't expect to enjoy the story, the characters, the depth that you get compared to other action films, um, is amazing.
Hmm.
It's it's wild because 'cause I'm watching this going, "This isn't just a good action film, this is a good movie."
Yeah. Oh, complete. I agree 100%. And to infinity with that. I mean, I have said I think this is the best action film of the millennium. And I mean, look, I think all the John Wick movies are amazing. Seeing the raid 2, seeing Chocolate, seeing all of these different action films. But it is the fact, just what you said, the story is incredible. The performances go along with so well with each of the characters. And normally with a number of action films, there's usually like some sort of henchman that like overdoes it with his idiocy and
Yeah.
just like faithfulness to like the big antagonist and stuff like that. And I mean, you have people who are very faithful to these like bad guys in this film, but I was along for the ride. Like they
Mhm.
didn't have there was one that was someone annoying that was the it was like a little police lieutenant
Oh
that was
yeah,
like
the little young guy that was
yeah,
kind of the deputy that was the partner of Yadong, um the lady cop, the
yes.
person who was
And
on the straight and narrow.
yeah, and it's like you didn't it's like when you first meet him, he's very annoying, and I honestly thought he was corrupt. Turns out he's just naive and still annoying. But I mean, he definitely like from when we meet him to uh his he has an arc and
Yeah.
he redeems himself like
Mhm.
magnanimously. I mean, I think it's great. And that's one of the things you don't normally see in action films, like in any action film, that you have someone who like goes from this annoying pissant to like, okay, you know what, you not only like beyond you saved children, you did all these amazing things, and it's like, the valiant demise and all this. I mean, it it really was great. But yeah, I mean, the characters are great. I mean, I love the fact that when people ask me what it is, I'm like, okay, well, if the Raid and Taken had a movie baby with a little bit of old boy in it, I mean, it would be the Furious. And the thing is, it's like, here's the other thing, Mark, and you've seen the movie. When I've seen a number of people talk about like old boy and stuff because of the hammer,
Right.
and I even said, like, afterwards, like, "Oh, yeah, and the hammer and stuff like that." But after watching it the second time, I'm sorry, no. There's the hammer, there's the ladder, there's the motorcycle, there's the machete, there's the bricks, there's the bars. There, I mean, you
Bicycle.
name it.
Don't forget bicycle.
There's a bicycle. I mean, you name it, it is used as a weapon. There's the bow and arrow. There's the hold on, I want to make sure I say it correctly. There's the kukri,
Mhm.
that is a distinctly curved Nepalese machete, which is like, holy crap, what is that? But I mean, everything is used, like every weapon known to man. You've got a 35 millimeter, you've got a shotgun, I mean, everything is used to his extent. And I realized, like, after watching it the second time, I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't even use the hammer that much. It's only like for a small part, but it's so ingrained. Like, I think in people who have seen a number of these films, like, oh yeah, and then he got a hammer. And I'm like, yeah, I forgot about the ladder. I forgot about that freaking Nepalese. It's like, how did I miss this? But it's like, I just love that they used all of this stuff. But not only that, it's using your full body. I mean,
Yeah.
head, feet, full body, um, old men, young men, big men, small men, women, children, everything. This is a full body action film, which people could say, oh, well, that's happened before. No, not like this. Not every single character who is in a fight do they use like almost every ounce of their ability to like put that out there, like their weight, their skill. Then they pause, then, which I even love. That's the thing, that it's like when they do that, when they in a number of the fight scenes, there's like just a random like pause, which it's, I feel like that's meant to uh like confuse your opponent and stuff, that, and I mean, half the time it works. So I this film, honestly, I'm so glad you asked me to talk about it, because I can rave about this thing all day long. And also, with the one in behind me, Masters of the
Mhm.
Universe, to steal a line from them, here, bad guys monologue, heroes dialogue, but heroes stay silent. That's, I just made that last part up.
Well, because our hero in this is, I didn't know he's mute through
Mhm.
this whole thing. Our main guy, the guy who has got his daughter who is kidnapped, um, he is mute, which I did not expect for one. I'm like, at first I thought maybe it was a deaf thing, but it wasn't. It was no, he's mute. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I thought maybe she was deaf at first, because they were just used sign when we
Sign
first
language.
see him. But then it's like, oh no, she's talking. He's the mute one. And uh, and we've got 2 stories. I didn't expect 2 stories. It actually opens with this wonderful action sequence to let you know what's going on with this reporter who isn't just a reporter. You're expecting it just to be a reporter, but
Mhm.
she brings the pain as much
Mhm.
as everybody else. And, you know, and I loved how this film opened because and we've talked about this before, and we were talking about this with disclosure, and what it was lacking is a defined, even unspoken set of rules of how things work. Because we mentioned when we were on Ian's show with disclosure, we talked about how, yeah, you had the plot stick basically, which could do anything, and there were kind of rules, but nothing seemed to hold true. In this one, in The Furious, once you realize, yes, this is an action film. Yes, these people are taking excessive amounts of damage and still seem to be fighting. Once you realize that's the rules of this world, you can just chill and take it because it's not just our heroes like you normally get in an action film. You get just the heroes who usually can take like massive beating and then, kill the lackeys. The lackeys take just as much damage. e- Everybody. And the rules with it seemed like fists and physical hitting caused pain and could cause you to halt, but it didn't really do a huge amount until you grabbed a weapon. When you grabbed a weapon, it would do another level of damage.
Oh, yeah.
But you could still kind of survive depending on unless your head gets completely chopped off or you get really mortally wounded. All other wounds and stuff, yeah. And the thing is, this isn't a realistic film. It's not supposed to be. This is an fantasy action film, like the action films we had of the 80s and that and 90s, and even like I said, the classic kung fu films. Look at how much damage those characters would take over the course of the film, and they just keep going. So it's in that spirit, and
Well,
you accept that. And once you accept that, this film, wow.
oh no, it's a freight train to infinity. Like, honestly, once you accept that. And I agree. If I may add on,
Yeah, go
when
ahead.
you see one thing I liked about this film, and especially that I noted the second time too, everything you just said is absolutely correct. Like, these people are doing these like crazy beatings and all that stuff. But what we also see is, you see in a number of these characters, like, the damage it does to your body, like the
Yeah.
cuts, the bruise, the multiple, like, giant bruises all over, like, how they're, to make sure they can go on and
Mhm.
end this fight and keep going. They need to, they need to heal, or they
Yeah.
need to do something to, like, do make sure their body isn't going to break down in them. And that was something I liked too, that it's not only like the big things, but it's the little things that
Mhm.
because and one of the things, and that is uh when dang it, I make sure, what is his name, sorry, I'm gonna say his name wrong, when Wang Wei, yeah, when his daughter uh Rainey is taken, and he is in flip flops. Let me just add that.
He ran and
He,
flew. I'm like, he's
he
right.
freaking runs in those freaking flip flops. And I'm like, what? I mean, this right here is amazing just in reality in itself. Like, how do you do that, sir? And where did you get these flip flops in Bangkok or wherever this is? Um,
he goes full borders. I mean, he's like the camera isn't speeding up, and this is the actor doing this. There aren't stunt doubles here, as far as I could tell. All of
no,
these performers are doing their own stunts, and
yeah.
he is going full bore run, and I'm like, he is moving.
Yeah, no, he's doing like T2 style, like T2, like whatever 800, I think it
Yeah,
is.
the T1000, the
Yeah, the
T1000, just
T1000.
yeah.
That is how he's running in these flip flops. And then, of course, what happens, kids? Well, the flip flops break. Duh. But then he is still running and on pebbles and on that. And to me, I'm like, ow, ow, no, yeah. I mean, there's people who get like hit over the head with like 2x4s. I don't flinch. I see him running on these little tiny pebbles. I'm like, no, make it stop. My eyes can't handle it because I'm like, it's internalizing that I'm internalizing that pain. But he is just a nonstop. And the only thing that like stops him from like keep going is he gets hit by a car.
He literally gets
Well,
hit
two
by it.
cars, I think, actually. Like
He
he gets
gets
hit, he gets up, and then he gets slammed.
yeah.
And then and people could say, oh, well, he wouldn't get up from that. You would be surprised what the human body can take. Like it is especially with adrenaline and just that, rage of like a wave of rage and hate and just like determination that I don't care, I'm going to get this done and all that. But I also think this film also has a message,
Mhm.
regarding sex trafficking and regarding how people in lower income are completely disregarded. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, well, you know, kids ran away or, you just lost them and all that. And like the stereotypes that they're showing people who are supposed to be there are, that are supposed to be helping you, how they're using that. And I was not expecting that. Like
Mm-mm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this film is amazing.
And getting more into, not only the message, but the characters you have in here. We have, Wang Wei, who is our mute, who's the badass, who we know is training, who we don't expect. Like I said, not only the female reporter who get introduced in the beginning, but her husband, who is investigating in her disappearance. He's also a badass fighter. But what I loved is there's a distinction between the way these two guys fight. In fact, there's a distinction between the way everybody fights. While some of them are using similar techniques, they all have their own identity, the way they're
Mhm.
fighting. And I loved that about it, that these two guys end up teaming up. Little spoilers in this review if you haven't gathered, folks, because we can't help ourselves. But
Oh
these
yeah.
two guys end up teaming up, which I didn't expect the two stories and how they kind of, dovetail into each other. And yeah, and in seeing these characters fight differently, I like that because it wasn't like, oh, we're all fighting the same way. It gives them their own identity, and you could tell who's who during the fighting. Which I will to this day say that uh, Asian and Philippine and Korean action films, basically any action films from uh, Asia Pacific cinema, will always be shot better than Western cinema action. It's just that
Yeah.
is how they've been, how they've learned, how they've trained, put how they respect the art of fighting. Because you can see everything, even when you get into this big climactic fight between three different factions that are five people, three different sides, everybody's fighting one another. You can tell who is who and where because of the way it's shot. And it's amazing. The part I try folks know I try to reserve the word masterpiece because I think it is overused. In this case, this is an action art masterpiece. This thing flows like water. The action scenes are not only amazing, but fluidly edited. Like but you could still tell what's going on. But there's an art to the way they're choreographed, the way the performers are doing it. It's like a dance. I mean, it's just filmed just once she gets kidnapped. I mean, you get the opening stinger fight with the reporter woman. You're like, oh shit, this is what we're in for. Then we get our quiet character moment where we're introduced to Rainey and the dad and that. But once she is kidnapped, this film goes,
Oh
and
yeah.
it just keeps going. Even when you take the quieter moment and the way they introduce characters and everything. I mean, this is such a well crafted film to tell the story that you could just sit there and have it presented to you, and you're like, you could tell everything that's going on. You know who's bad guy, good guy. You're not sure where this is going to go, because I'm not going to give full spoilers, but there's a twist with the young bad guy in here, antagonist, who's kind of the leader of the human trafficking. They take a twist with him in this last act that I did not think they were actually going to go there, and they do. And the main villain, I think it's I forgot his name, but I
Tack.
huh?
This
No,
guy's the bow and arrow guy.
Tax the bow and arrow guy. No, the guy in the suit, the young man with the
Oh yeah, I'm not sure.
I forgot his name, and I feel bad because it's because he was one of the best villains I've seen. uh yeah, he was so good in this, as he's a guy who has, like, you could tell has a condition of some sort. But it's not, like, given in exposition, it's not given in, like, any way, shape, or form, but you know what they're doing just through his performance, to where he gets triggered by something, and when he gets triggered, he becomes a completely different person, and then he eventually kind of kicks out of that. 2 different people, and I loved his character and what they did with him and the tragicness of his character, actually. They even give him a little tragic side story. And then they work police corruption into here.
Mm-hmm.
It just they weave this total story together in such a way that it's easy to just buy into everything that they're presenting, and you know exactly what they're going for, and I loved that. I loved that this is a smart action film.
Yeah.
This isn't just doing the action scenes, and the stuff in the middle is to get you from one action scene to another. Everything connects to everything else as it moves along. Everything is advancing the plot and the story. Even the quiet moments, we're not just waiting for the action scenes. We're actually invested in these characters to where we want to know more, and they give us more.
I think it's Joey Iwanaga.
Ah, okay.
They don't. They only have a photo of
Oh
him
yeah,
like in
Pak
another.
Loon. Yeah, he plays Pak Loon. And
Um, yeah. So I think because then the next person is Mr. Song, and then the next person is Yadong. So I'm thinking that's who it is. And yeah, I mean, he has that quiet menace about him that it's like, he's very subservient to the higher ups and stuff like that. And then but once something happens, he just that switch that flips in him is like, oh, okay, so you are not afraid to get that suit dirty. It's like, all right, here we go. And that's one of the things about this film also, that with the action, and I would say it's like a violent, it's a beautifully violent ballet, like the
yeah,
way that fight choreography is, like, it is just phenomenal. But it also has heart, not only with the fact that you have this father who's looking for his stolen daughter, because I mean, they do little clips about how there's so many kids that have been missing, and the police just say, they just like, oh well, they ran away and stuff like that. Yeah, because the 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds really hit the streets hard because that's how this works. But it's not only that, then you have that, as we've talked about, you have the husband looking for his wife, and then you have some of the people who are in the police force who know this isn't right, that
Mhm.
something is wrong, but because of where they are in the ladder of everything, they can't do anything. And then that changes. And also just even when, and I don't, I'm, this isn't a spoiler, but it's just something I feel like to entice people. Like when Rainey is taken, and she doesn't give up. She's trying to get out and stuff like that. And the little boy that tricked her into getting taken and stuff like that, she hates him. Like she's there because she tried to help him. And then he is like, he's like, I feel like mortally, not mortally wounded, but he's like permanently wounded because of stuff that has happened to him. And this is the only way he can survive, is to like, try and get more kids for these people that are going to kill, him and his family and stuff like that. And then when there's a scene of a possible rescue and stuff like that, she's like, get up, come on, let's go. And he's like, why? You know, I
Mhm.
I did this because, you're here because of me. It's like, yeah, but we don't leave our friends and stuff like that. And I think that's just a beautiful moment that you see a child doing what is right for no reason other than it's right. It's like she doesn't gain anything from that. And that's something that you don't see in films. You
They
don't
they
see, and especially to have it be a kid, it's like, again, that's just showing what an amazing father her dad was. I mean, he always wants her to learn how to fight. It's that, and she's been one of those like, oh, why? It's like my hair's already short. You're gonna make me look like a boy, and he's like, I'm just looking out for your safety, and he's training her and stuff like that. But he's also made her so empathetic and such a good person because he's a good person, and I love that in this
Mhm.
film. And I also love the fact that you have, as that 5-person like finale fight,
Oh,
like the
God.
enemy. It's one of those things that it's like the enemy of my enemy of my enemy is my enemy. It's
It's
like
like
that is one of the, it's like at one point, the way, and again, I've said this because it's just a full body, like on your hands and knees, using like, I mean, parkour, like on the different, like using the stairwell, I mean, everything. And at one point when someone's on their back and then they like flip over and they look like the dog, the
Yeah.
alien dog in Alien 3. And I'm like, how did you do that with your body, sir? Like, he's, what is going on? It's like, then I'm like, this isn't CGI. This is this guy who just went, and it's like, and it's like he's meaning to do that. Like I was reading up on it. It's like he wanted to use his fighting techniques. He was not empowered. He
Mhm.
was, what I'm saying. He was,
Encouraged
yeah.
influence?
Well, he was influenced by
Yeah.
Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's like, and we talked about this like before we started recording. As soon as I saw that, I'm like once I read that, I was like, sir, you freaking nailed it, because I was going between the uh like the possessed dogs in Ghostbusters and some sort of like animalistic thing. And then once I read that he was like, really trying to emulate Donkey Kong, I'm like, nailed it.
He so nailed they all nailed it. Oh, and that's the thing, though. You've got different styles of martial arts fighting against each other in this, and I mean, we keep coming back to it. I mean, there's so many wonderful set pieces too. It's not like they're fighting in like only 2 or 3 places. They're fighting in all kinds of locations, all kinds
Everywhere.
of settings. There's, you know, just brutal hits and everything, but this 5-person fight, I will say, I've watched many action films over my many, many years on this planet. I've watched many martial arts films. and I thought I've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
This fight is specifically, but some of the other some of the other fights in here too, but specifically this climactic, extendedly long fight that we get that's amazing, that's still telling the story. They do stuff in here I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen behavior wise, because usually when you get in a fight with multiple people, it's usually 2 on 1 or 1 on 1 on one side and then everybody's kind of, these guys, while they get knocked down by one opponent, they see another opponent next to them and they take a swing at them. They don't bother going after the guy who just knocked them out. They're going after that guy because they don't like that guy either. And it's just this wonderful, brutal ballet between all of these characters. And then you work in there the reporter who has his wife. And so he's got extra stakes in this, especially with one of the guys he ends up going mano a mano with, which is more than just a cinematic moment. There's actually a heartstring pulling moment during
Mm-hmm.
a very bloody, brutal fight. And you're just like, oh my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a fight in the rain with
Yeah.
our two main guys. And coming back to what you were saying with the kids, this is some of the best written kids parts and acted parts I've seen on the big screen in recent years for sure. These kids are smart. They aren't annoying.
Yeah.
And like you said, his daughter actually does things. She's not just the MacGuffin. She's not just the person to be rescued. She actually gets some hits in as well. Not a lot, but she still gets. But they do stuff with the kids to make it part of the story. They aren't just an object to be rescued. She is a character. She has a personality. She has a story that is told here as well as the little kid who, like you said, baited her into all this in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, but cinematography wise, the way this film is shot and when they choose to do a slow motion, little bit of this has been a just very minor spoilers in this review, but I have to, because it's a shot my son remembered as well, because my son who's going to be 26, he's, I know it's a surprise, he's very critical of films. I don't I he's far more critical than his old man. But when this film finished, he said, "That was an amazing film and probably one of the best films I've seen and one of my favorite films now ever." And I'm
Yeah.
like, I thought he was being kind of snarky, sarcastic, like he likes to do. He was legit and he would just not stop. And he talks about it. And the one scene, if you want a beautiful example of the cinematography, near the end, they're fighting in the rain, and our hero and antagonist are locked up, and there's this reverse cartwheel thing they do where they're locked in arms and they both spin in the air, and it's like a cartwheel and the rain's coming down and they slow motion it and there's lightning and and just the way they do that, it is a beautiful
Yeah.
shot.
And the use of the street lights, and then with the emerging dawn coming, like that you see, and I mean, it's just, yeah.
It's crazy. They, like I said, they work a police corruption storyline in here and give it just enough. I mean, I'm not talking about like this is like Godfather like depth or anything, but this got far more depth than what you would expect from a film like this, and it gives you enough. And that's why I say it's smart and efficient. It's that's a good word, I think. Very efficient in its storytelling because it knows exactly what it needs to tell you and what it doesn't have to tell
Yeah.
you. Because they're like, you've seen action films, and even if you haven't seen action films, you're going to be able to tell what we're going for here and here. The female police officer who we're introduced to later on gets to have her moment in here. The kids, when they're being rescued, get their moment to where they do stuff on their own. They're not waiting for adults to save them.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it is the, I don't want to say the efficiency, but it's like, look, we don't have time to like cry and do stuff. We got to get out of here. And I mean, one of my favorite scenes in the film, which almost every scene is a favorite, is when, Rainey won't leave her friends. It's like, and
Oh,
she tells her dad, we need to go save them. And I'm just letting you guys know, they, next thing we see, and this is after there's a small, like, little group of like the guys who are like
yeah.
guarding the children because they're the goods and stuff like that. And then another group of extremely tatted up people, that's supposed to let us believe like, oh well, these are the real bad dudes and stuff like that, that have, the weapons. And that then uh Rainey and her father, next thing you see, there he's on a motorcycle in this building,
He uses the
going
motorcycle.
down the hallway, and she's got a bat and she's just swing, 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 swing. So it's like, this is a father-daughter duo, like, we're gonna kick it some ass, we're gonna kick in some ass.
They did the motorcycle thing, and I just started
That
laughing
was amazing.
beautifully.
It's like, I don't even see how this is happening. I don't care.
I
But
at that
it's
point, you don't
incredible.
care. Yeah.
Well, and I also thought about this, and I think it's very interesting that when you have like just as a form of color, like that, the different locations, that
Mhm.
it's almost the uh like the status of the people in it, like the different locations when they're darker, that's supposed to be a more impoverished and,
Right. Mhm.
less. And then if it's like, what, there's a huge house that is like all white, even
Gorgeous.
police station is like yellow and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I was thinking about this like just now, like how that use of color to use, like, how the cleaner, lighter colors are supposed to be, show how this is
Yeah.
richer, and like nothing bad can happen
Mhm.
here. And then you got the ice factory or whatever it is, and then, the place where the kids, the dungeons that are all grimy and dirty. And then even in this UFC little club that they have,
The club fight was
yeah, the
great.
club fight place. And then in where the guy who owns that's like all gold and stuff like that, which is very similar color to the police station, which I think is very interesting. But I think I feel like the details in this film
Mhm.
are just, they didn't just half-ass anything. I mean,
No.
everything is done with a specific point to it. And as you said, the gentleman who is going trying to find his wife, Joe Taslim, who is also in the raid. And there are a few people I actually
There's a
was,
number of them. Yeah.
yeah, I was watching the raid before we came on. I was like, oh, well, there's him. Oh, well, there's him too. I'm like, well, hey, look at that.
That
Which is my,
explains, yeah.
I know, and that's the thing. And honestly, this film with the character Tack, who has the bow and arrow, I would say he's
Oh, yeah.
the baddest bad guy of 2026. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not only what he can do, and this is a big ass bow and arrow too. I mean, this is like Robin Hood, like, you swing it. I mean, that's a heavy thing. And then that, Nepalese machete that he has. But it's not only like the skill that he has, but it's his demeanor and his charisma and that just evil smile of what he's doing, because it's just so good. But I don't know, I still think that five-person fight scene is one of the best scenes in of the year, because as you said, it's not only, it's like two people against two people, and when one of them is like stepped away, they will go in for the other one. But then you have this fifth who, he's just trying to kill all four. So it's
He
like,
he does.
when if one person is like maybe step back from the one enemy, then you've got this Donkey Kong guy who's like, well, I'm going to try and kill you too. It's like, I was so exhausted from watching that because it's like I don't know what type of calisthenics and like I mean that took had to have taken I mean,
That
just
had to take days to
rehearsal.
shoot that.
Yeah, the
That had to
rehearsal
take,
for
yeah.
that, I can't even imagine,
Mhm.
and I read that, Mao Zedong, who plays Wang Wei, I think and one of the s his, like, his blood pressure was so high that
Yep.
he had to go to the hospital,
Yeah.
and then as
Yeah.
soon as he and thing is, as soon as he got out, he went right back to set and started doing stuff. I'm like, "Damn it, man." Like, seriously, not all heroes wear capes. And
No.
again, and then, and some heroes, stay silent. And that's the way to do it. Because that's, a unique factor about his character too, is that the frustration that he has, and you don't hear like, when he really wants to like just shout out and do stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, the use your words and stuff. Like, no, he uses his fists and uses action, and he has amazing facial expressions. Like,
Yeah.
kudos to his acting, and he can talk. That's the thing. It's not like I was wondering if this was something like, okay, this is he's unable to speak and that's what they're doing, but no, he can fully speak. And I believe, see, that's the thing. I think, with the version that is in China, they go more into why he can't speak. Like there's like some sort of like plate in his head.
Well, they talk about how he's not supposed to take head injuries because one of the head injuries he took ended up causing him to be mute, is what they said in the version in the theater.
Okay.
And they allude to him having some kind of background, but you're
Yeah.
not sure because the cops try to look him up when he came in trying to report that his daughter was kidnapped, and they say this guy's got more than a clean record. So it's implied like this guy was almost like some kind of special forces or something, but we're never given a define. I love how that
No.
we're never given a defined actual definition of who he actually is, which is the difference between like Chinese and Japanese and Asian cinema and say Western. Is someone here in the West in Hollywood would have written a backstory and they would have got an exposition or a folder or a dossier of some sort. And here we don't get that ever. We don't know what his full background is.
Well, that's the thing. I honestly think, I mean, genius is a strong word, but I actually think that's brilliant because what that does, I mean, I don't know about you, but that makes me want to see the prequel to The Furious because I want to know about this guy. I want to know and how, he's open to telling his story and stuff like that. And I think that's possibly in the Chinese version too. And it's not that his record was clean, is that his record was non-existent.
Right,
Like
right.
his name does, and it's like,
Yeah.
and that's very, it's like, who is this person? Because that's one of those things. Like, it's not only that you have,
Mhm.
he has no record. It's not that he hasn't done anything wrong. It's like it's that he doesn't exist, and that's a whole different level of like, oh, you are a supremely badass person. Like, I don't know what you did or who you worked for, but yikes.
And
Yeah,
and I don't think I'm trying to remember. We don't do like a Hollywood thing at the end. I got worried. I got worried when she says at the end, a little spoiler, folks, but when she says, "Tell your story," I'm like, "Oh, here we go. This is where he talks." Like we get, but he does.
no,
He's still signing, and I'm like, "Thank you." They
yeah,
maintained the character throughout. We didn't get a little Hollywood hook like, "Oh, we didn't get that. They yeah, they put thought into this film. They still had fun. They're like, "Look, we know this is the type of action that you're gonna get, so these people are gonna be able to go through some very unrealistic situations, and they're fighting, but at the same time, we've got a grounded story in here." So even though the action scenes are fantastical, the story itself is grounded, and I don't know how they managed to do that, but they did. And I think that's why I think this is yeah, one of the best action films I've seen of this millennium. I mean, I still love as far as this type of film goes, this and the first John Wick and Fury Road for me are the 3 top action films that I have watched since 2000. And that's a big statement, but it's simple fact. I mean, but this is more than just an action film.
Yeah.
And it was sad that there was only 2 of us in the theater, beside well, 3. There was me, my son, and 1 other person, and I just watched a third of this film. I'm, like, sitting here going, "There needs to be more people in this theater. This thing needs more eyes on it." This
Yeah.
film is just wild and fun and smart and things that it was better than I figured there'd be great action scenes from the trailer. I didn't expect all the other stuff be just as good as the action scenes.
Yeah.
Um, and like it's just all the elements. They really this is what happens when someone takes care in the film they're executing.
Yeah.
This is what this is. And I'm not overstating it that the fight scenes literally flow like water and are literally like a dance, like an art.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't
So
know how they manage to do it, but they continually flow. And yeah,
brutal ballet. It is a
it is a
brutal,
brutal ballet,
brutal ballet.
absolutely. And yeah, and my son does not make those statements lightly when he says, "This was a wonderful film. This is my he from," and he rattled off all these things that we've talked about here tonight and more. He wrote an extensive review on Letterbox for it. It ended up, and that's the thing is we drove an hour to go see this film because it wasn't showing anywhere
Worth
near
it.
here, and
Worth it.
it was so worth the trip. It
Mhm.
was so, so worth it. I'm so glad I got to see it in the theater, and it's definitely on my must-catch list, when it gets to home video because it's gonna be already on probably on its way out, um, to streaming just because there's so much competition at the box office with so many screens they gotta fill, and it's sad because I think if this film comes out, you know, uh, uh, at a slightly different time, people are it gets talked about a lot more. You
Yeah.
know, I think
Well,
if
I mean, the fact that it came out, I mean, its competition was Disclosure Day. It came out the same weekend as Disclosure Day. And
right,
then, this next weekend is Toy Story 5.
yeah,
So, and this is a film that should be seen in the theater. Like, you
oh yeah,
really need to see it in the theater to appreciate this, like, fight choreography that is honestly Oscar worthy. Like, I don't know. I know you had said that. I agree. I had said that, like, when I got out of the theater the first time I watched it. Like, this is what fight choreography. These are the awards that need to be given. Like, this is why you need to have these awards for this. Um, but it just to see the scope of
yeah,
it's just the big screen is the best place to really appreciate that
mhm,
experience. It's funny that you said Fury Road. I always think that as like an I don't know, as like a I mean, I don't know. I just Fury Road is one of my favorite like films, and I think it is one of the best films in the past 26 years. It is action, but I think for me, since it has that like the road trip part, not
yeah,
road trip, but like I
yeah.
feel like it's a different type of action film. I
Well,
mean,
no,
there
it is,
are
yeah,
amazing with the practical choreography and like that with the different people and stuff like that. But like because when I say that I think this is the best action film of the past 26
yeah,
years, I feel like that's the hand on hand
right,
action
mhm,
and stuff like that.
right,
Because I don't know, I personally liked Fall Guy. I liked the stunt choreography in that. And I feel like with Fury Road, they have that stunt choreography, and this is more like fight choreography, like
sure,
however
sure. No, I
that
no,
is.
I fully get the distinction. I mean, they're different action films. I'm just,
Yeah.
as far as it is kind of lumped in action films, they're different types of action films, but they're all really well crafted. And if you look at them, they aren't overly complicated. And I don't
No,
understand how Hollywood can do that with like some of these bigger films, like the bigger like comic book films and the other films. Like they try to almost get too complicated. It's like, no, this is all we need. You look at the Furious, it's like, this is what we need right here. Fury, even the first John Wick wasn't that complicated. Guy goes on a rampage because someone killed his dog. Now it opened up a bigger world, but it's a straight story. I mean,
Well, I feel like a lot of times they try to, okay, well, how do we get, women 18 to 35 to get interested in this, and like 35 to 53 and all this, and like, and how do we get, 15 to 19-year-olds? I'm like, hey, I have an idea. Just make a good goddamn movie and just do that. Maybe not try to check, each box. It's like, you know what? The 5-year-olds are going to love this. You don't know what a 5-year-old's going to want from, I don't know what 6-7 is. We don't know what
nobody knows what
are,
6-7
no
is.
one knows what 6-7 is. We don't know what people are going to like, but guess what? They're going to love it. If you just make it, just make something well done, just do that. And then, let the chips fall, because this is one of those films that it's like, everyone should see this. Like, it is an incredible, incredible movie. And even when, like, you have some characters who are just completely like idiots, they don't go over idiots to make it like, that was a little too much. Like, it's just, I mean, and they even explain, like I said, they explain it with the one guy. It's like, yeah, this is what happens when you've had too many, like, concussions and blunt force trauma and stuff like that. It's like, this guy is a maniac. It's like, and he was. But yeah, and I mean, they've got some, bad death scenes. They've got, like, with all sorts of different materials. And I think that was maybe one of the things, like, there was some stuff with kids that we didn't see as an audience. I think that's why that's some of the stuff that's in the Chinese that's in China, that I'm not exactly, I thought I read something about that in IMDb. So I don't know. I'll let you know when I get that.
When the release comes out, and hopefully they release it with the original, the cut, that was released in China and such, because I'd love to see more of this. I know I'll be watching it again. It'll be on my frequently watch list.
Yeah, because Lionsgate, this is a freaking banger. Like,
this is
the only thing I would say is a negative is that honestly it should have been promoted more.
It should have been. This should have definitely got a bigger push. It's definitely should have. And I know
when I did it at my screening, and when I did my review for Panic Fest, I said, it's like, this is a film. This is a film that people need to be seeing. And when I saw it at my second screening, I was like, I'm seeing it for the second time. Go this weekend and see this film. It is incredible.
It is. It's one of those where we don't get films like this that often done like this, but when they are, it just makes you fall in love. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's simple fact. You fall in love with cinema all over again, because you look at it going, this is what I've been missing. You watch a film like this, you go, this right here is what I've been missing from cinema for a while, from all the stuff that's been churned out, and that's what you have here. And I'm not overplaying it, folks. It's a sharply crafted film that it's one of those things where I appreciated it so much, and I was so glad I got to see it. And you're right, brutality and such in here, but yet it also has heart. It's not afraid to take chances. It takes some big chances in its telling of stories, and even the way it ends. And again, I'm not going to spoil everything, but I'll just say the way it even ends was a surprise in a great way, because they set it up the whole film. So when it happens, it's not a surprise. It doesn't feel like a cop out or a cheat. It's like, oh, okay. It was one of those things where I was like, I love that. I love that. And the fact that my 20-something son adored this film tells you something, because that's a hard demographic to crack nowadays, especially with action films. And yeah, go see this film. We'll wrap it up here. I didn't expect it to go this long, but
I mean, It's in my top 10 for the year. Probably my let's be honest, probably my top 5 or 3.
This is gonna be
Um,
in my top 5 for sure.
yeah.
I don't foresee, something really, being it's definitely in my top 5. It's the highest rated film. I didn't actually do a minute review because I know we were gonna do this one, so I just figured I'd wait. Um, but if I was gonna rate it, it would be 5 stubs. This film, is the first 5 stub film of the year for me. It was one of those that, yeah, I if it wasn't an hour away, I would have saw it again. But gas prices and such the way they are,
Oh, yeah. No,
I can't take too many trips as worthy as it would be.
you do not
Um,
have to explain, my friend. That is but yeah, it is, I mean, absolutely incredible. And as your son, you said about your son, it's his number one film of the year. I know a number of critics who saw it last week. It's and as was discussed yesterday with our disclosure review, it's one of the critics there. It's their number one film of the year. And
yeah,
I even before I saw it for the second time, he was like, "Oh, was this good?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I will get on that hype train and say that. Look, I did the same thing for Obsession. I did the same thing for The Furious. I'm 2 for 2. And honestly, I did the same thing for Project Hail Mary. It's like I don't know. I these are some pretty damn good films this year that are out that I'm very pleasantly surprised that it's only, at it being the halfway mark of
yeah,
the year. So you're doing good
we're
2026. I
doing
mean, there's
yeah.
been some absolutely abominable things I've seen also that
Yes, yes, there's been some
we
atrocious
yeah,
things as
we may
well.
have to discuss
Um,
sometime. But this one is not it.
no,
This is one that again needs to be seen in the theater, needs to be seen multiple times because it's just phenomenal. And
yeah.
I say go see it again and again.
Yeah, and I would say the same. I think the closest, film that I've watched recently that's the other one. I forgot to mention that one for top film of the millennium, RRR.
Yes.
That's his this film I haven't felt this way about a film since RRR, an action film, to where it literally just made my jaw drop and I was, like, so in, I'm like, "I would watch this just immediately again if I could."
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there you have it, folks. 2 top scores, for both of us for The Furious. If you get a chance to see it at the theater, if it's still there, go see it. If not, when it comes to streaming, definitely watch it. Pop some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy, the wild ride that will make you appreciate and make you realize exactly what you're missing from a lot of the other action films that we've gotten. So there you have it, folks. Now, Katie, as always, license to shill is yours. I do it everywhere. Where can folks find that?
They can find me at the Blonde in Front on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And then I also guest every once in a while here, which is one of my favorite times when I am allowed to do that. And on Kicking the Seat, and on Cinema Jaw, and on Neon Movie Bunker.
Fantastic. Check all of that stuff out. Katie is a wonderful critic. I'm very honored to be talking to her and consider her a good friend. And yes, folks, go see Furious. Just go see it.
Go see it.
And go.
It's better. It's better than Taken. It's what Taken.
It's better
It's
than
what Taken would
Taken.
have done if Liam Neeson could do any of this stuff. Like he uses guns. This guy uses fists and his entire body.
His
Go
his
see
whole
it.
body. Yeah.